Okay, before you just click out of this video and comment about how racist I am and how I'm a white person, okay, racism does exist, but I'm going to explain to you what racism is and why claiming that someone is racist without without real proper motive makes you a lack makes you automatically have a lack of critical thinking skills and allows buzzwords to bypass your higher level brain function to get an emotional response out of you and without any real logical critical thought. If you're offended by this meme on the screen, I think it's freaking hilarious, and I think it speaks volumes about an aspect of society that we can't talk about in openly in public, and it's talked about very often in private discussions, and you can find plenty of videos about this from the Black community themselves. Um, that there is the reason why racism exists is because people work in extremes and they take the most. I said this in a feminism video that they take the extremes of what they believe about a certain group of people, and that's what they go on. And when people do that without realizing that there's a brushstroke that is within all of us, the thing that binds us all together, and they go completely on the extremes, that's when they become racist. But there is a big issue when you do that because there are people that live on those extremes. There are people who in this world do not have morality. They do not live their lives like other people, and they work to bring down society because they are satanically programmed, and they just they have fallen for the trap of the programming, and that's a horrible, horrible situation. And it's hard to say that it's like their fault, but God gave us free will. We have free will to make the choices that we make in our lives. And each and every and we can take path A, path B, path C. They all have predetermined destiny involved. So as soon as you start making your path, you're allowed to make every single choice along the way of that path, and you have to take responsibility for that. So with racism, for example, when people call white people racist for calling out black people, for calling out a very specific section of black people for their bullshit. I'm just gonna say that, like, for their bullshit, for their literally destroying parts of Western civilization, entire cities going down because of poor black people. There's so many videos, and I'm just gonna say it right out for you because I don't care if you're offended. There's videos. Look up niggers versus black people, and you will see that black people talk about it often. That even they are afraid of these people they would label as niggers. Got people who will literally jump you in an elevator, take everything that you have, that are ghetto and that live in a very satanic, take all, grab all, narcissistic, thug life mentality. Okay? Those same exact people who are white would be the ones who get into positions of power using psychopathic traits and narcissistic lib personality disorders. It's the exact same thing, just on two different spectrums. And one of them is supported societally, and the other one is supported societally because with how media has manipulated the black community into with hip hop and rap and just disgusting degeneracy with the music and the media that is promoted to them. The thug life is like glorified. It's like, oh yeah, but and with white people, it's glorified to become like a CEO and executive, and people think that, oh my gosh, wow, it's so terrible that black people. No, it's not terrible that they are not glorified to become executives. It's the same exact satanic ideology. It's the same exact thing, just a different flavor. It's like it's like chocolate and vanilla, you know. It's it's come on, guys. Like you just got to see it for what it is. It's like the idea of racism is such a divide. It's so divided, and it's just sad that black people on an average have like an 85. It's like something like an 85 IQ, and white people have something like an 105, 115 IQ. The only reason for that is what is being promoted to them. And I think that if white people were and black people were all promoted, had good societal idealistic, oh gosh, altruistic and self-sacrificing motivations, if all of those were promoted, I think everyone would have the same IQ. I think it would be fine. But there is a big difference between black people and white people because white people are closer to the source of humanity. Um, Cultures all around the world, all global first civilizations attribute their civilizations to tall, white, blonde, blue-eyed people. They're called the Raseyanini. They were the scattered ones. They're talked about in all old books, all old cultures. So white people are technically closer to them. So we are technically closer to the pure genetic line. The falsehood of evolution and the falsehood of black people becoming white people, that's a falsehood because literally white people become black people too. There's like, I think it's either in Zimbabwe or in Tunisia, somewhere over in Africa. There's a whole tribe of black people who have completely white Caucasian DNA. They just turn black. Okay, the biggest concentration of white people of Caucasian DNA is in India. It's not like actual Europe or white people. It's there. The purest of white genes are over in India. They just got a little darker, and those pure white genes are in lighter skinned Indians. So I'm sorry to tell you, it's just that, and black people are not less than white people at all because living in this society, we all equalize out in the end. It's like it's all equalized. It's everyone has the same chances. It's just that the social programming has us fooled in a lot of ways into being racist towards each other without any real reason to be racist when we should just be standing up against and to get in togetherness. Now, do I believe that we should be racially mixing? No, because I think that the um, keeping the bloodlines pure, keeping the races separate instead of muddling them all down to one brown mess is keeps the strength alive of racial identity and keeping us separate and keeping us being able to identify with a group promotes individualistic achievement. Being able to, so black people mostly hang out with black people, white people hang out mostly with white people. Are there outliers? Oh, of course. Is that how it's always going to go? It's always going to go that way. We've seen the failure of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism doesn't work. The Muslim first generation people go out of their countries, the second generation, and they become super unhappy with their lives over in a westernized country. They literally get shit on by the people of their old country because the Sharia law goers in like Pakistan understand what the life is like in London, and they don't want their people back if they've been exposed to that. And by the second generation, they know that all those women have turned into dirty sluts because of feminism, and so now they're stuck in a place where literally they don't have any cultural identity. They're not with their own people, so literally they start forming their own groups of their own people in a in a new place where they are already disenfranchised and angry. Then they just start destabilizing that place. Do you see why this is a bad thing? Do you see why refugees are a bad thing? Why they're just raping Germany? Why they want to conquer them? They literally shout, "We want to conquer you. Allah wants to conquer you." This is the reality of the world. Races are just, we gravitate towards each other. That's just how it goes. White people with white people, black people with black people, Latinos with Latinos. Should we all be friends and tolerate each other? Oh my God, of course we can all be friends, and people can go outside of their races, but should it be promoted? No, I don't think that's a horrible thing because it's not part of our natural instincts at all, and that's just logical reality for you. Um, when people hate other races based upon the racial outliers and then hate the entire race, they are functioning on very low level programming, and they are not allowing that person to show the 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 swath of colors within themselves, the swatch of colors that are the same between them. And I've had friends of all races. I've had transgender friends. I've had black friends. I've had Chinese friends. I've had Latino friends. I speak Spanish. I speak a lot of Korean. I love all people. I love all races. It's just a blatant fact in your face. Asians want to be with Asians. White people want to be with white people. Latinos go with Latinos. Everyone does that. Totally natural. Totally normal. Um, and it's just sad that people would paint an entire race that is different from themselves based upon the lowest common denominator. Same for the opposite when the other races hate other races. Like if Asians hate black people, and Asians, I'm gonna be real with you. If you go to China, if you go to Korea, if you go to Japan, they hate black people. They hate American black people because they understand the ghetto system here, the welfare fraud and the welfare queens and all that shit. They understand it very well. They hate them. That's why when people go, when black people go over to like Japan, they tell them they're from South Africa because they have no respect for American black people. Okay? That's why racism is not like a thing. Racism is not a racism is real, but the reasons for racism have to do with social engineering and social programming, and everyone, it comes down to a common denominator anyway of psychopathy, and thug life is basically the far lower class standard of psychopathy of the business world. So I just hope you guys understand that and laugh at the meme. I think it's hilarious.